We can go ahead and get started. And again, today is more about welcoming and introductions and, an overview. There's going to be no decisions made today, no voting, nothing like that. This is just to kick off the program. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to record this so we can, although it's being recorded as well, that way our other members who are unable to join us today can take a look. And then we're also going to get an overview from USDA here in a little bit. So again, I'm Joe Petty. I am with the County of Warren. I'm the Director of Economic Development here in our office, and I work with the Front Royal Warren County EDA and their board of directors and their operations and what they've got going on. And the Small Business Loan Committee, is a product of the EDA. This is one of their standing committees that's being reestablished, and we'll get more into exactly what that is here in a little bit, but I wanted to kind of go around the room and introduce everybody, and then I'll also just kind of make note of who is absent today and who you will meet in the future. So,
okay. Scott Jenkins, I'm the chair for the EDA board at this point. Served as vice chair last year. Got a battlefield promotion in March. Part of our mission is for economic development is asset sales, trying to bring in large businesses to the community, but also a very important part is focusing on small business. We've had a very successful loan program through USDA loans and grants for the last several years. But for the last 2 to 3 years, the program's been dormant. As the EDA has been distracted by other pressing matters, which are finally getting to a state where we can begin to get refocused on economic development as opposed to lawsuits and court cases and things like that. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So we're really excited that this year we're reestablishing the Small Business Loan Committee and the advisory group that you guys have joined up for. I thank you for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because this is where we get to really make a difference. At small businesses, you can see when an entrepreneur comes in and sets up shop and is successful, you can just see the enthusiasm and the energy that pervades the whole community. So it's good for everyone. And having loans and having some financing available to help springboard some of those businesses, whether they're startups or established businesses looking to relocate or change focus or expand, it's exciting. So we're really, really happy to have you guys here and to work with you. As chair, I will defer to the board members that are assigned to the Small Business Loan Committee to interact with you all and to figure out what the operating parameters are going to be. But I'm going to take an active interest also and stay involved.
Great.
Didn't sign up for this. My name is Jacob Schwartz. I'm co-founder, co-CEO of Woolly Pixel with Isaac down yonder.
I know, yeah.
We operate a small visual effects facility in town, and we're interested in learning more about what the EDA and USDA has to offer. So we're here to learn.
Cool, good.
Well, I'm Brian Biggs. I'm the financial advisor with Edward Jones on North Royal Avenue. I'm kind of a small business, kind of part of a big business. It's just the way Edward Jones runs. Mm-hmm. But I've worked with a lot of small businesses through the chamber, through clients, and I know that small businesses can do great. But I also know that we have to be real responsible in who we give these loans to, because a lot of small businesses don't do great. So I'm here to help the town, and hopefully we can do some really good, responsible lending.
Hi, I'm Jen Avery. I am a local realtor for 10 years now, and I also have a job at RMA, So I have another angle to the community. And then one of my passions and my most favorite things to do is to help energize people, and most commonly the small businesses. I've enjoyed that so much. So I think this is a perfect fit to see who might be coming in, how we can help, and finance if it's something that's appropriate, but really looking forward to it.
Good, good.
Nice. And as Jacob said down there, I'm Isaac Buono, co-founder, co-CEO of Woolly Pixel, which is an exciting new visual effects facility that we established here in Front Royal. We mainly work with major Hollywood studios in doing visual effects and post-production content. And due to COVID, I used to work out in LA and worked with Hollywood out there, but COVID brought me back to Front Royal, and now that opportunity is leaning more in the remote direction, so we're just kind of capitalizing on that opportunity. And yeah, as Jacob also said, we just started up and are curious to hear about just the financing situation here in Front Royal, and then how we can be a part of that community as we grow. So it's all very exciting for me and us. So.
Good, good.
So,
Yeah, this guy skipped in.
well,
I'm Sue Lawrence. I'm a broker owner at Kemuth Properties on Main Street. And I'm really excited about this because looking over the information that was sent, just, I don't know about you, Jen, but I just was real excited about it and said, oh my gosh, let's get this business going. So yeah, yay. And I'm here because I have pink eyes. Sorry, I'm trying to keep away from people. So
That's right. As long as we
That's
don't
okay.
shake hands, we're fine.
Don't share. Don't share. Thank you for not sharing.
Yeah.
I'm Jim Wolf. I was on the committee before, so thank you all. And thank you, Sue. I know your husband, because he was on our committee before. And we struggled to make a few loans, and actually there's a portfolio of loans that we're doing just fine. I teach entrepreneurship at George Mason University. I'm a lawyer by training, but I don't practice law, and teach a lot of finance and teach lawyers and teach ne'er-do-wells how to do better.
Good job.
Walt?
introduce yourself, Walt. You're in the room.
Okay, I have the room. I'm Walt Mabe. I'm one of the Board of Supervisors here in Warren County, and I'm just here to pay attention to what's going on with our group, and it's a great group. Thanks.
And I'll just make one side comment before you go. Sorry, Joe, but in addition to making loans, what really makes a program successful is follow through with the recipients of the loans in terms of mentorship, guidance, networking. And so the more we can do that as a team for the businesses that we're loaning money to, it's not just doling out money and then collecting payment checks. It's really fostering a vibrant business community, working with our partners, Chamber of Commerce, the FRIBA organization.
After hours is tonight for Chamber. Anybody want to go? It's on Honey and Hops.
Yep. So, and you all are already actively doing a lot of that anyway. But I just want to throw that out there that we want to see a group that's engaged with the businesses that we're loaning money to. Because I think the best kind of program is where there's a lot of communication back and forth.
And we're also happy to, the examiner's here, and so, partners like that also help get the word out. Today might not be the most exciting of all the meetings, but as we continue to move forward and this progresses and what we talk about today, gets out there, we really hope that this committee and this program that the EDA has will ultimately benefit all those small businesses that, build this community up. So I want to kind of give just a quick kind of overview. So Joe Boatwright is with USDA. He kind of oversees this program. He's going to be joining us at 2:30 to give. So this program itself comes from them, and he will give an overview exactly what they do, and you can ask him some questions on that program and that overview. I did include in the packet kind of the two quick fact sheets for the two types of loans that we have to offer. So in '97, the EDA was the recipient of a grant. It was one of their grants through rural business, and it was for $500,000 at that time. And over the years, they've been able to re-lend that money. So they were awarded the grant, they in turn lend that out to the community at a low interest rate. And all of these monies are kept in separate accounts and through the EDA, and it's only used for this program. So they were able to track, jobs and how much money they actually lend out, because as money comes back in, they re-lend it. So that was in '97, and then in 2013, they got an IRP loan through the USDA for another $500,000. So there are two separate accounts, and Joe will talk to both of those. And traditionally, the grant side, the Rebel loan, which is what it was called then, was for smaller ones, and the IRP was for the larger loans that they had done. And we pay back, or the EDA does pay on that loan every year on the IRP, that $500,000. So that one was a loan that they relend. Currently, they have 7 active loans still in process, and approximately about $500,000 in cash in the account for this program. In the last year, so the county is the EDA's fiscal agent, and so we have been, after the departure of Doug and Gretchen, we started doing the accounts payable. So we take in the payments each month and track them. So over the last year, I think we've closed out 6 loans who have been paid off, which is exciting because that just means more money in the account to re-lend. And then all the other ones are currently active. And a lot of times you see these lists, these are businesses that we use all the time. So it does have a great impact on it. And then they have, obviously as part of this program, not all of them are going to be winners, and there is delinquent status that they go through, and the EDA will contract that out with legal services to do anything that they need to do to recover those costs. And I think Joe will also talk to that about, as you're reviewing loans, and those are questions that you talk about, is what should you be looking for in applicants, what should you be expecting of them to uphold their side of the loan, collateral, etc., to make sure that all sides are protected in this process. And then after we get with Joe, we'll talk about kind of the next steps. But there's also, I shared the program guidelines. I don't know if y'all were able to read all that, but kind of walk through it. Historically, the EDA has managed this program, their own staff. Again, I'm a county employee, not a staff member of the EDA. We will talk about that, how we want to manage this program. There are outside agencies that can manage it for you, or we can manage it in-house, but those are also discussions that we could talk about. And a lot of this does have to go through the USDA. You get their approvals on what your process is. So there are lots of checks and balances that we make sure we're good, and they will come through an audit. But the program itself, again, we have the active loans, but it's been stagnant for a while because of COVID, as I alluded to. So we're rebuilding this program. You guys are rebuilding this program to really understand what we're going to do, how we get the word out, and I think partners like the Examiner and the next steps that we'll talk about after Joe will dictate what that looks like, and your commitment as a committee, because we want to be cognizant of your time. We were talking earlier, Mark and I, about next steps and how we do outreach. But you guys work all the time. The people who are getting these loans are working probably currently, so we'll have to figure all that out in this process. But Jim, I don't know if you have direct interaction with this program from before. I don't know if you want to give any background a little bit more about what you all were able to do in the past.
As you said, some of the businesses So I think Element had a loan.
Correct.
I think. I mean, this is all public information, right? There's nothing here that's a secret. Element had a loan. They got it paid off. So that's good. And there are businesses that you all know that need to have this. I don't know about your business. I really want to talk to you about your business.
Yeah.
My stepson does this kind of.
amazing.
Yeah. But the trick I think that we tried to do last time, Sue, and we were very unsuccessful, is we tried to reach out to new businesses that didn't know us and we didn't know them. We looked for minority businesses, and this was a real fight within the committee. I've been a commercial banker before. I served on a publicly traded bank board, a little tiny bank. We are not making traditional bank loans. The only reason to have this program is because they can't walk down to the old Middleburg Bank and get the $10,000 loan on the basis of a signature, or put up their house or their cat or their whatever. So it's tricky because there's higher risk involved in these loans, and there's a higher return for the entrepreneur who's got it. I always flunk my students who say, well, I'm going to go get a loan to start my business. No, you're not, because no bank is going to give you money, right? They're just not going to give you money to start your business. So there's a balancing act here, and we really tried to follow that very well. We had a couple of restaurants that were new to the area and that were right on the edge of being able to get their loans, and then COVID hit and they had to shut down. And I'm not loaning, even me with a bleeding heart Republican, I'm not going to loan money to a business that's not open. Right. So it's a fun thing because it's not a traditional bank loan, and it's not typically a traditional ongoing business. The old joke that we used to use whenever the comptroller of the currency came in is, yes, sir, we're only lending money to people who don't need it. That way we know we get repaid.
And that's why it's important for us to engage with businesses when we do make a loan to help boost their chances of success. And get them surrounded by a supporting community that will work together to make them successful.
So thanks for that chance to wag my finger at you.
Yeah.
We need these
Sounds
loans.
exciting.
We need new business in the community.
Yeah, and we still got time. So I found some other things. So when I sent some stuff out, it was the fact sheets, an old application, and the guidelines. There is a lot of information. Like I said, the first one went back to 96 when they applied, and 97. So there's a lot of information on these, but pass some of these out. So this is like a checklist essentially for loan applicants as they look into it. This was another updated loan application.
You did find them. I couldn't find these in my computer.
Sorry, there's 2 pages. This was an old loan application, another one.
Do these come from the USDA or do we create them?
So this is something that you all will create, and we can kind of skip ahead a little bit while we're waiting on Joe.
We did these.
I want to be cognizant of your time, and again, this is just big picture stuff.
Oh,
So you'll want, yeah, it's 2 pages. Sorry, I should have stapled them. Somebody probably only
I see
has the
3.
first page.
One is a checklist, and then these 2 go together.
I have a page 2 to some. They but so you'll want to recreate this and get this
Can I look
to
at yours?
USDA, and this is something like some homework I think that we'll look at and when next time we meet to kind of start to draft this. That'll be some official action that we'll be taking in the future is to look at this application and make sure it's good. Checklists and what you all want to do moving forward and how you want to promote this and make people aware, whether it's public meetings, like workshops, or social media campaigns, etc. But the application is obviously critical, and we're already drafting up, and I'll share these new copies that I had with everybody in the group. But it's something that we'll draft up and we'll start working on between now and whenever the next meeting is, and you guys can start working on that as a group. And then, really then it's about outreach, how, you get this word out Again,
That's fun.
yeah. Again, it's our partners in in the press. It's using social media, people like yourselves who are out in the community already, and making people aware of this great opportunity. I think we have a little bit of time before the application process opens. Again, we have to draft it, we have to put together some other information, but start thinking about how we do that and what avenues. I don't know how y'all did it before. Was it just press releases and
It was, and that was one of the things that shut us down, is that all of a sudden, when we couldn't physically meet, and nobody had learned how to Zoom yet, and so we really didn't get out the word the way we should have. We did have good loan applications, but they were all in the food business, and they all went under, or just stopped.
I know Nikki's really good at the chamber to let people know the program exists, and you should look
The
into
newsletter.
it.
correct. And I spoke with Nikki yesterday about this meeting and explained to her that this is very infancy, and this is the first welcome meeting to introduce each other and just to get a quick overview from USDA. But as the future meetings happen and discussions are taking place about application procedures and checklists, and we'll want to make sure that we're having them involved in that process because they're going to be a great partner in this program. I think there would be a good opportunity for, like you said, a public meeting, like a workshop at the library or the community center, once everything's ready, to have people come in, like sales from businesses, to ask questions and to understand exactly what we're doing as a group and what the committee's role is. So, and then as far as upcoming, meetings, I'll send around a scheduling poll again and see what works for everybody, but it would be nice to start getting a standing meeting for this group moving forward. Again, I know everybody's busy, but it's almost like at least up front, like every 2 weeks, getting together, having benchmarks on what we should be doing each week, and that will put us on track to have the applications out the beginning of June if we worked from today's date. And that's kind of being aggressive, and then at that point it would be as needed as applications come in, and it's up to review, and then this body would review those applications and send them to the EDA board for approval. And I don't know, does anybody have any quick feedback on any of that, or what you're thinking, timeline, time commitments?
Is there like a quorum, a number of us that have to be here to make things happen?
Yeah, so right now, so they're looking for 5. You currently have 4, so there's 3 of you here, and you have the EDA representative here. And this is just a work session, kind of informative. We announce, it's a public meeting. You all are here, you're here, but you're not making any business decisions. Once the business decisions come in, you will definitely need to have a quorum present to vote or take any official meeting actions. But again, today is just welcome introduction as opposed by, and again, the EDA board was invited, and the entire.
So you're not on this committee, you're on the board.
I'm on the.
He's on both.
Do I get a vote on the committee? I don't think I do.
You've got an oversight responsibility.
Yeah, but that's not like having any
Right.
real authority.
But
I don't think I get a vote.
ultimately, the loan decisions are made by the EDA board. Your role
So we
is
just recommend.
to review and provide guidance and recommendations.
And then once
And then
it
you
is
have-
approved, mentorship and spreading the word.
Right. And then there are 3 EDA board members assigned to the committee to work with you. But they're going to take advice from you and bring that back to the board in our monthly meetings to make decisions on, yes, this loan will be initiated, or no, it won't be. But it's based on your recommendations.
How fast is the turnaround? We meet with, the small business would submit the application, and then we would review, is like how much time passes for us to do research? And
It doesn't take long. It's a
Then it can
couple of
happen pretty
months.
quick.
Because we met with a particular owner of a restaurant. And because it was pending, I'm not gonna mention who it was or where it was, but we went out to the restaurant, paid for our own lunches to be sure of that. But, you know, we were all up in that business during the first 30 days. We were ready to go
okay.
within 45 days.
Okay.
And then they had to close their doors.
And yeah, and I think, you know, again, that's going to be, again, it'd be nice to have some set standing meetings of when you guys, probably more frequently now to get this thing up and going. I think this has been, you know, they've been working on this for a while, so this is an exciting time to get this going. We really wanted to get it up. So probably more frequently at the beginning, once the applications are out, you know, I think you'd still have that standing meeting to review anything that's come in at that time. But if there is, you know, this special meeting that needs to be called, we'll make sure that we, you know, as this is an appointed committee, we'll properly advertise that and get the word out and send that notice. But yeah, that might just be on an as needed at that point. But yeah, I think more frequently now to get you guys going. So like I said, I think I'll send around kind of a draft schedule at the end if that sounds like that might work.
Sure.
For the group, at least for the next meeting. And then at the next meeting, we can define, since we'll have an official kind of meeting, voting, we can define what that schedule looks like at the next one. But like I said, I think probably about 2 weeks out from now, give you time to review everything, digest this, and then the next meeting we'll make sure that everybody is here and everybody's up to speed, and then we'll schedule all that. So.
Okay. Good.
Here's a question for you. I do remember we also used outside counsel
Hey, Joe.
to look at UCC filings and also do the credit check. Somebody, I don't think Gretchen did it. I don't remember who did the credit check.
I don't know. I'd have to look and see if you all used.
But we used outside counsel
Outside
to do
counsel.
the UCC checks on UCC filings.
But yeah, I think that you'd want to. Well, obviously you'd want to do that, but I think you.
But I don't think you all can do that within the county. Yeah.
I know. I think you'd probably still use outside counsel.
Okay.
We could chat with Sharon.
I'm not sure at all what we're talking about right now.
UCC filings,
Which is UCC?
Uniform Commercial Code filing on equipment. You can attach equipment the way you get a loan on a car or a loan on a house.
Okay, like a collateral thing.
It's you collateralize the loan, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Good.
Hey Joe, this is Joe Petty with the county. In the room you got some members of the Small Business Loan Committee and members of the EDA board and local business owners and a member of our Board of Supervisors and the local press. So a good mix of everybody.
It's a party.
But, you know, again, I think today is to introduce our new committee members here and give them a quick snapshot of what this program is before they really get started and getting things done with their committee. But I wanted to invite you in as kind of the overseer and understanding of USDA rural development and kind of tell them exactly what, you know, that program is and how it came to be. And again, I did tell them that they do have the two different loan and a grant through you all. So.
Right. Well, hi everybody. Glad to meet you. Basically, with Front Rural, we did back when was a Rural Business Enterprise Grant, which the name of that program now has changed to Rural Business Development Grant. But it's the same stuff, really the same regulations. We provided, it was $500,000 at the time, which was a grant to start a revolving loan fund to make micro loans in the Front Rural Warren County area. And they did a really good job on that program. So they applied for what we call an IRP, or intermediary relending program, which that is where we loan the money to you all to set up a revolving loan fund for that. For you can make some larger loans if you wanted to in that, and determine that. So those are the two basic programs that we did, but they're both for the same purpose technically. It's a revolving loan fund to where you can help businesses in your area to purchase real estate or equipment, or provide working capital for. The loans can be done for basically everything except religious organizations, gambling establishments, graveyards, and golf courses technically, or any type of ag production, okay? Which sort of piggybacks with their B&I loan program, which we can talk about later if you want to, since you're the EDA board. But that, what I will say is, I did look over your scope of work, where anybody has over 20% has to do a personal guarantee, ownership has to do a personal guarantee on the loan. What I would try to emphasize to your new board, Joe, is on all the loans, the grant, the IRP, or whatever, make sure that you take hard security. And when I say hard security, is have somebody put up real estate or equipment or inventory or something, for the sole reason you have to keep these funds separate in your budget and everything. But for instance, say you lose the grant money, well, that's loss that's never to be gotten back unless you have hard security. And I think in the past I did talk, because there was some loans made where it was just guarantees only, where they were just getting the guarantor just to guarantee the money. So it's like really a note-only loan. So I would try to stay away from that with your new committee, because if that loan goes under, you have nothing to get back, okay? In the same way with the IRP, you're still obligated to pay that loan back, so you want to make sure that you have security to keep those revolving loan funds revolving. And that's basically that in a nutshell. And I can answer any questions, pertinent questions that you have, but just I would go more than just guarantors, because a lot of times your guarantors are gone when you're going to collect money. So you want to use good, prudent lending practices, and just stick by both of the scopes of work that you all provide to us. When you've got both of these transactions, if they need to be modified or changed, they are working documents. You can ask them to be modified or changed, and we can look at that also. Okay?
Joe, so this small business loan committee is going to get applications and review them. Is there any point in that process, can you explain, that they need to send this to you before any approvals have done on any of these loans, or is this solely with this group?
It's solely with that group. What we do is on both of those programs, until, this money is revolved, okay? So in other words, it's already gone through the process once. Like on the RBDG, we had to do an environmental review, and we would sort of look at the applications during the first part. And like when you all did, I think it was a dentist office and something else, I actually came down and did an environmental review for that, and to make sure everything's there. But the rest of it is all up to you now, since that money's revolved.
And then as they begin this process, they're going to have to update, their applications. Maybe it's, the vision of what they see this committee doing. Should they be sending some of these draft documents for you all to review to ensure that they're, complete, and that we're catching everything that they should? Because this has been going on for a long time. with this organization, but the board of directors is all new, the staff is new, this committee's new. We can look at the old stuff, but we want to ensure that anything new is up to date. Is there a process that they can have, like, you guys look at it and give them any best practices?
Yeah, we can do that as a courtesy. It's not a requirement that they needed to do. Every 3 years, we come down and do what we call a civil rights compliance review. I think the last one was done in 2019. And on your application, we do require that you put the race and the gender, or if you don't have it on your application, you need to track that stuff for our civil rights compliance review, that we make sure that everybody's been treated equally and everything for that. So we do that about every 3 years, but if you want to, if you're putting together a new application and you want us to look at it just to see with all the other applications we get that it's pretty well close to it, we'll be glad to do that as a courtesy. That's no problem.
And then, does anybody have any questions for Joe? I'm gonna keep asking questions. Anybody? And I'm trying to ask some questions. I think that'll just spur some ideas. So, from a USDA standpoint, obviously these people know their community. Was there anything specific the USDA is looking for this loan program to help? I know it's rural development, but any specific targeted businesses? I know you talked about ag producers are a different program, but is there something that we should be looking at that would also support kind of the USDA's mission?
We're pretty much open to everything except those 4 things I told you about. The reason we don't do ag because the Farm Service Agency has programs for the ag part. We're into community development and creating jobs and helping businesses be successful. And while I got you, if you don't mind, so you'll sort of see how this goes. Since the EDA is there and you all are there, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our business and industry guaranteed loan program. So you'll sort of see it on a different perspective, which you all are doing in a micro way, but it's for the same thing. In the business and industry guaranteed loan program is where a bank comes to us, sort of just like SBA, they come to us and we guarantee 80% of any of the lender's loss up to $25 million. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a small business like SBA. It doesn't have to meet SBA guidelines in that. So, and the loans can go up to 40 years or the life expectancy of the security. The lender will determine the terms and the interest rates. And basically that is for lenders, if they have a small loan approval authority where they don't have to participate it out, it just increased their loan approval authority. It's for other lenders that just want to feel a little bit more comfortable about a project. Our motto here is we don't want to make a bad loan good. We want to make a good loan better. So this is sort of my time to just talk since we don't have lobbying. So those 4 things or 5 things with the ag producers is the only thing we can't make a B&I loan for. Okay, so we've done breweries, wineries, hotels, convenience stores, gas stations, just about anything, movie theaters, right up there where you all are at near Loudoun County, that Evergreen Sports Complex, if you all know anything about that, that's one of our projects. If you know about Devil's Backbone Brewery, was one of our projects until Bud bought them out. But we have several different projects like that throughout the whole state. So as far as economic development or something like that in your area, you might, when you talk to people or whatever, keep that in mind. Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be valuable because obviously there will be people who will want to come to us that hear about this program and maybe they might not qualify for this, but maybe we can refer them to other USDA opportunities.
Right.
Joe, this is Jim Wolf with the EDA board. What you just described that was analogous to the SBA program, I'd never heard of that before. Now, are the local banks who are your partners the marketing arm and the sales channel for those loans?
Yeah, the banks are our clients, okay? So when a bank gets the project, the bank comes to us, and the bank is actually, they have the borrower and everything, but the bank, and they send it to us, but the bank is actually applying for our USDA guarantee, just like they would an SBA guarantee.
Got it. The SBA I'm familiar with. Is there any value in terms of our local economic development to having us help push that program? There are no locally owned banks here. Every bank in basically the broader region, you would know better than I do, but there are no locally owned banks. There are no bank board directors who sit in Warren County.
Yeah, and I do this a lot. I don't have a problem. If you all want to put together something, you know, I can even bring my staff and talk about rural development business stuff. You know, rural development, I'll give you a little hint about rural development. We are the only agency that can take a piece of ground and make a city out of it, okay? Because we have probably 50 different programs. In RBS that I work with, we run about 21 programs. I just told you about just one of them. We have housing programs that help low and moderate income people for housing. We have multifamily housing projects. We have community facilities that helps with fire departments, rescue squads, municipalities and nonprofits. We've helped colleges, we've helped different things. And then in RBS, where I'm at, you know, we have the micro loan funds, which y'all have partaken in. We got the B&I loans, but we also have energy projects for solar for small businesses that do have to meet SBA guidelines, and ag producers. So we do solar farms, we put solar on hospitals, you know, ag producers, poultry houses, dairy farms, a lot of small businesses. We have what we call a value-added producer grant, to where we, I'll give you, for instance, I'll give you a success story. Here in Lexington, there's a place called the Cattleman's, and Mr. Potter is a beef farmer, and he owns a beef farm, and he also has a slaughterhouse that he provides beef to the public, also to the 3 colleges that are here. But people did not want to go to the slaughterhouse to buy hamburger or steak, okay? So through the value-added producer grant, it's a marketing grant, he opened up a storefront, and in that storefront, he sells his beef. He's got a deli restaurant that he uses his products for. He sells Mount Crawford Creamery out of Ridgewater, and we help get started on that through that. So it really helps different people. Those are some of the products and stuff that we do along with several other programs. So we have in the Rust, they do sewage treatment plants and everything else to do that. So we can take a piece of ground and actually make a town out of it. So that's what you sort of keep in mind on that.
Thank you.
Now, as far as going back to your SBA thing, the bank comes to us with a project, and we work with them to help them provide better terms. You know as well as I know, if you go to a bank today, they'll say, okay, I'll give you a 15 or 20 year amortization. We're going to balloon the payment after 5 years. Okay. Well, we don't allow balloon payments. So they can do a fixed rate of interest, or they can do an adjustable rate of interest, but they have to tie it to some published index, like the Wall Street Journal, like you all did in your all's program, or Treasury bill or something to help them out. But we've helped a whole lot of people on that.
Thank you.
And Joe and the team that presentation over in Clark County a few months ago and did a great overview of all the different departments that they have. And so as we look forward to getting the word out about this program, maybe we reach out and see if we can do something similar for this community locally, and obviously invite outside groups in too, but to kind of give an overview of everything that USDA has to offer, because it is quite expansive.
Yeah, we will travel to do publicity, so that's good.
Does anybody else have any questions for Joe? I'm sure there will be more later. If anybody has any, I can either connect you with them, or I'd be happy to pass them along and kind of work with Joe on that. But
I do have one question. Joe, this is Scott Jenkins. I'm with the EDA board. You mentioned that you work with the banks to make it easier for the bank to provide workable terms for businesses. Do the leads come through the bank before they come to you, or do you have entities like our EDA contacting you because we've been contacted by a business that is looking for some assistance?
It goes both ways. I get calls all the time from individual business people. A lot of EDAs or county administrators will call me and say, hey, I got this coming. Is there any way that you can help on that? And sometimes I will, we don't keep a list of banks or anything, but we got nationwide lenders, we got local lenders, we got, I don't know, several that, you know, if it's geared to a certain thing, not every bank's going to do a hotel loan. So you can give them 5 or 6 banks that will do hotel loans. Not every, I don't know if you've been through Stewart's Draft lately. Anybody been through Stewart's Draft lately? Mm-hmm. But in Stewart's Draft, beside the sheets, we did a greenhouse that does succulent plants that you put in your house. And they sell to Lowe's and Home Depot and everything. And that building is 6 acres under roof. Ooh, that they do that. And they've already sold out everything they can for this year, and they're contracting out. So up there near you all, near Broadway, is Shenandoah Growers. Has anybody ever heard of Shenandoah Growers? They do herbs and stuff like that. That's another one of our projects. So, like I said, Devil's Backbone, we've done, if you ever in Waynesboro need to go to the movie theater, Zeus Digital Theater is one of our projects. Chateau Marcette Winery. Then we do, you know, right now, I can't tell you where, but it's going to be near you. I got 2 hotels that we're doing right now, and a couple other things that haven't hit the press yet. So.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Joe, we appreciate your time. I do always. I thank you for. I always have questions for you and BJ. So thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll be in future contact as they continue to move forward with this committee.
No problem. If you need us to come down and talk, or just come address your committee or whatever, we'll be glad to do it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So definitely appreciate, Joe getting on there, kind of giving that overview from the big picture of what they do. And again, they gave, Clark County hosted out the Barnes at Rose Hill, I think it was called. They had all the different, departments come out, and it was really good. So if we decide to do something that's more of a workshop to invite people out, we can possibly get all of them to come and give a great presentation. Because there's a lot, like I said, we're here for Small Business Loan Committee and what we have already on the books, but there are lots of other opportunities out there that could benefit the community. So we kind of covered most of the other things I had after the fact for Joe, but I think, again, I want to be mindful of everybody's time, and this is really just to kind of get y'all together, get us going. It's been a while, but really it's I'll send around again to set up the next meeting date. The next meeting date we'll have, and that's where we can really get into making some decisions on the future next steps. You have some of these draft applications. I can send them to you in Word. You can tweak them to your heart's desire and bring them to the next meeting or share them with the group. And I'll be doing that on my own and have something to present before the next meeting that you can look at as well if you have questions between now and then. But I think, I'm targeting, I think May 9th would kind of be maybe the next date, but I'll share that around and ensure that everybody's good.
Yeah, I have a question, but
Yeah.
it hasn't been asked, but what's your low-end loan amount that you're interested in? And what is your high end before you get those people involved?
So, I think that's going to be part of this discussion process as we do the checklist and the application, but I think it can be wherever you want. I've seen historically some of their loans have been $120,000 to as low as like $5,000.
Okay.
That's in the application. The question, what are they requesting? And obviously as part of this committee, you're going to ensure that what they're requesting is reasonable and what they want to do, because there's certain things you can use it for. You can't use it for all operations. It's the criteria and the quick sheets tell you exactly what you can use the loan for.
Yeah, I don't have a copy of the quick.
Yeah, and I'll share.
My apologies.
No, and so that's going to be up for this. Is there a target for small or micro? What's the minimum and what people really want to seek? What's the high end of what we feel is appropriate? And it obviously depends on how much money you have. You want to protect that a little bit too. So those are some things that we'll get into when we talk about the criteria, the checklist, and really what your targets are and your goals and your missions. So I think we'll get into that in detail in the next meeting. Because I kind of was like defining it out as, you'd be looking at getting your application, any strategic plan, and starting any marketing type of plans, and then following back up with that another meeting to make fine tweaks on that, and then it would be get it out, get the application out there, and then your plans would be in place, marketing and stuff. So I kind of targeted about a month to work on that application and your goals, and I don't know if you think that that's realistic. You've done
No,
this.
I think that's very realistic. Yeah, no, I don't think it takes a long time, but you do have to make some decisions, and that's all up to you. That the lower end loans, we set 5,000 as the lower end, which we really wanted to offer, and then you ask yourself, this person owns a business, it's up and operating, and they need to come to us for $5,000.
Right.
That's, you could pull out your wallet and get $5,000 if you needed it on a credit card. Now, everybody cannot do that, but then everybody's not trying to run a business. So there's a lot of push and pull on who are we lending to and why.
And I think looking back at it, I think historically most of them are in that like 10 to 15 range historically is what was been lent out.
It's pretty hard to pull out your wallet and put $15,000 on your credit card and keep your business going.
And I think it was like, equipment, things like that to really bolster that business, or upgrading equipment and stuff was I think, if I recall looking at some of the old loans, that's what it was, a lot of it was used for. Which for a small business, a kitchen or something, equipment's pricey. That could be meaning opening or closing the next day. So, again, I'll be sharing some of these other documents electronically. If there's anything else that you need in the meantime, let me know. I'll send you the Word draft application that I put together that you can review and tweak as needed. What I think. And again, right now we're meeting during the day, which is obviously convenient for me. But you guys have businesses. I think to keep this about the small businesses and that community element, if we have to look at like an after 5 kind of meeting, that means more convenient. Just let me know. But and obviously as we begin that public outreach with, once the applications are open and how we're getting that out, I think that will be important to make sure that we're available to those businesses outside of normal business hours who might need it. So all that's up for debate,
You guys will figure that out.
but yeah.
You'll decide what your work will
And how much of our time is spent meeting with the businesses, just not reviewing applications, but the actual business applicants?
It's up to you.
I mean, you have the experience in all this.
Well, I mean, some of the businesses, again, I don't want to sound too negative. This is not for my friends on the Chamber of Commerce. They don't need this program, frankly, right? Because it's the business that's new in town and doesn't know where the chamber is. So you do want to physically meet with those people, right? Because if it's an up and operating business and they're pulling in $500,000 a year and they're asking for a $10,000 loan, you kind of scratch your head and go, why?
Yeah, why?
You know, you're coming to us because you want cheap money. It's lower cost than going across the street to a commercial loan. So I think that you do have to meet with them because they'll hopefully be new businesses or potentially businesses that are saying, well, I'm going to move to town, but boy, I need to redo this physical space. Where am I going to find $20,000 to do that?
Yeah,
Well, I might be willing to give a little bit on that and do some after-hours stuff, but I have a business and I'm running it, and I'm here at this meeting during the day, so I don't know.
Right.
They should
No,
be able
the
to
Zoom is a
arrange your
great
schedule
thing.
a little bit too.
I've closed my office at the university and just all my students have to meet me on Zoom or else they don't get to meet.
So yeah, I mean, all that's up, for discussion. I think we can hammer a lot of that out next meeting when, everybody is here and able to join us, and with Sue be feeling better. I mean, Sue, do you have any questions or anything at this point, or?
No, I've been looking over all this paperwork and hearing what's been said here. I have some questions, but nothing that's going to impact the next meeting.
Right.
This one might. I really don't like this EDA logo.
Well, it's an old. They don't have that logo anymore. They have a new logo.
Yeah, I
well,
thought we had a better one.
Yeah, like I said, this predates obviously, and again because they haven't issued any loans since.
Oh yeah, that's what's on the. That's super.
You did a few, but it's been the program
That's
itself
much better.
hasn't set. It's
I feel
set.
good about that.
But again, if nobody has any questions, I mean, I don't really have much else. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being part of this committee. I know the EDA board has looked strong. This has been a big priority. So, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Joe, have we gotten contact information out so that you know how to reach Joe or board members?
And I have,
On an email
so I have your email addresses. I just want to ensure that the email address that you provided are good for public. I think they're mostly your business emails, so
okay.
those are good. I'll share those with everybody in the contact. I just want to be thanks for bringing that up. I just want to make sure that was the correct email
Mr.
to
Wolf,
use.
you're maybe one of the only ones that doesn't have me.
But yeah, if there's anything you need, but we'll get the next meeting scheduled, and I'll share that, and then we'll keep moving forward. But I appreciate everybody's time. So
Exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for doing this,
Nice
really.
yeah.